Imagine stumbling upon an ancient tablet buried beneath shifting sands, its surface etched with symbols pulsing faintly in the torchlight, as if yearning to whisper secrets long forgotten. What if these markings aren't mere decorations or primitive doodles, but the key to unlocking hidden layers of reality? Tonight, we unravel the hidden truth about sacred symbols, journeying into realms where myth and mathematics, spirit and science converge. From the moment humanity first gazed skyward and marked the heavens on cave walls, symbols have served as bridges between the seen and unseen, the mundane and the divine. Yet for millennia, their true power has been veiled by time, mistranslation, and the fear of those who would hoard this wisdom. What if I told you that the very shapes we dismiss as old or decorative contain encoded instructions to expand consciousness, heal the body, and align us with cosmic rhythms? In this video, we'll embark on an odyssey that begins in prehistoric sanctuaries and winds through the hidden sanctums of lost civilizations. We'll lift the veil on the mystical geometry etched into the pyramids of Giza, trace the silent language of Celtic knots woven into ancient manuscripts, and decode the enigmatic glyphs of the Hermetic tradition. Along the way, we'll reveal why temples and tombs were built not just as monuments, but as message boards for those with eyes to see. But this isn't academic ivory tower speculation. We'll also glimpse how sacred symbols continue to influence modern art, architecture, and even quantum physics. You'll discover practical rituals, simple meditative inscriptions, breathwork combined with sigils, and mindful design techniques, to harness these archetypal patterns in your daily life. By the end, you'll understand why these shapes can feel alive, why they stir something deep in the psyche, and how they can serve as catalysts for personal transformation. So light your candles, clear your space, and prepare to journey beyond the words on this screen. The symbols carved into history await your attention, and they may just awaken a hidden language within you. Ready to see the world anew? Let's begin. To understand the true power of sacred symbols, we must first journey backward, not just through centuries, but through the tides of forgotten time, into the shadows of ancient civilizations where language had not yet crystallized into words, but rather into signs, glyphs, and emblems. In the beginning, symbols were not invented, they were received. They emerged from altered states of consciousness, from visions and initiatory dreams, as glimpses of a divine language, the primordial code that structured all existence. In the temples of ancient Egypt, symbols were far more than ornamental or religious, they were alive. The Eye of Horus, for instance, wasn't merely a protective amulet. It was a metaphysical equation, a visual formula encapsulating the human senses, perception, and divine awareness. Egyptian priests used it not just to ward off evil, but to teach initiates the inner anatomy of the soul. Every curve and angle held meaning. Every proportion reflected cosmic law. To truly see such a symbol was to awaken something dormant within the self, a recognition, not learned but remembered. Traveling further east, we find the mandalas of the Vedic traditions, circular designs that mirrored the architecture of the cosmos and the inner universe of the meditator. To sit before a mandala was to gaze into infinity, a mirror for the eternal cycle of creation, preservation, and dissolution. These weren't abstract diagrams, they were portals. Meditational tools meant to dissolve the illusion of separation and bring the practitioner face to face with the Absolute. In the Americas, the Maya and Aztecs carved symbols that served as calendars, cosmograms, and messages from celestial beings. The spiral, ubiquitous across nearly every ancient culture, represented not only growth and expansion but also the unseen force guiding the evolution of consciousness. These civilizations didn't merely use symbols, they lived by them, governed by sacred geometry, sacred numbers, and sacred patterns etched into everything from city layouts to ceremonial garments. So what happened? How did we lose this understanding? The fall did not happen all at once. As empire replaced initiation, and dogma replaced gnosis, the meaning behind symbols became diluted. In the West, with the rise of materialist thought and organized religion, sacred symbols were either stripped of their spiritual significance or deliberately demonized. The pentagram, once a symbol of balance and human perfection, was twisted into an icon of fear. The serpent, revered as a symbol of healing and transformation in ancient cultures, was cast as evil incarnate. Why? Because these symbols held power, not brute force, but a subtler power, the power to awaken. And an awakened populace is harder to control. Mystery schools went underground. The knowledge survived, but it was veiled in allegory, hidden in plain sight in cathedrals, catacombs, and coded manuscripts. Even the Renaissance, with its burst of esoteric curiosity, only scratched the surface of what was once universal knowledge. Secret societies such as the Rosicrucians and Freemasons preserved fragments, embedding them in architecture and rites, but always behind closed doors. And so, over time, the collective memory of what these symbols truly meant, what they could do, faded into myth, relegated to fringe mysticism or dismissed as superstition. Yet the symbols themselves never lost their potency. Like ancient seeds lying dormant in the soil of the human psyche, they await activation. Even now, people who are drawn to certain symbols, tattoos, or artistic motifs often don't know why, only that it means something. That inexplicable pull is not random. It is memory stirring. To reclaim the sacred is to remember that these symbols were never meant to be worshipped, they were meant to be used. They are the original spiritual technologies, coded messages from our ancestors and the universe itself, reminding us that there is more to this world than what meets the eye. Let us now begin to decode what the ancients have left for us, not in books or scrolls, but in shape, form, and frequency. Sacred symbols are not arbitrary designs, they are the visual crystallization of metaphysical truths. They are bridges between the seen and the unseen, maps pointing inward and outward simultaneously. Each one is a doorway, but you must approach it with eyes that see and a heart that remembers. Let us begin with the flower of life, a symbol that has surfaced across Egypt, India, China, and even medieval Europe, always hidden in sacred spaces, never far from the initiate's path. At first glance, it is simple, a series of interlocking circles arranged in perfect harmony. But look closer. Within it lies every form in creation, every geometric shape, every molecular pattern, even the structure of DNA. It is the womb of sacred geometry, the matrix through which spirit becomes matter. To meditate upon the flower of life is to realign with the original blueprint of reality, to tune your consciousness to the harmony of the cosmos. Then there is the Ouroboros, the serpent swallowing its own tail. A symbol that has slithered through time, from the temples of ancient Egypt to the alchemical manuscripts of medieval Europe. The Ouroboros speaks of the eternal cycle, life, death, and rebirth. creation and destruction as one seamless breath. It is not a symbol of ending, but of continuity. In esoteric traditions, it represents the alchemical process, the transformation of the self, how we must consume our old identity to give birth to the new. To wear the Ouroboros is to declare to the universe, I understand that death is an illusion, and I am willing to be reborn, again and again, until I become whole. Consider also the Eye of Horus, also known as the Wedjat. Often mistaken for merely a protective amulet, this symbol encodes a profound understanding of human perception. The ancient Egyptians assigned each part of the eye to a sense: smell, sight, thought, hearing, taste, and touch. But this wasn't simply anatomical, it was spiritual. The Eye of Horus represents perception elevated into awareness. It symbolizes the journey from fragmented seeing to divine insight. In mystery schools, initiates were trained to awaken the inner eye, the faculty of seeing beyond the veil. To activate the Eye of Horus is to begin perceiving with the soul, not just the senses. These symbols were never passive, they act on the psyche. Their shapes carry vibrational resonance. Their patterns stimulate recognition within the subconscious, triggering ancestral memory and spiritual knowing. This is why symbols have such immediate emotional impact. They speak the language of the soul, not the mind. But there's another layer, subtler still. Sacred symbols often contain paradox. They are mirrors reflecting truths that cannot be spoken, only known. The Ankh, for instance, commonly interpreted as the Egyptian symbol of life, carries within it both masculine and feminine energies. The vertical line represents the masculine principle, the horizontal the feminine, and the loop above signifies the womb, the origin of life. But deeper still, the Ankh is a key, literally. It was believed to unlock the gates between the physical and spiritual worlds. Egyptian deities are often depicted offering the Ankh to pharaohs, not as a reward, but as an invitation: enter. Awaken. Remember. Now imagine how the meanings of these symbols have been buried, distorted, or lost. The flower of life reduced to aesthetic wallpaper. The Eye of Horus dismissed as mythological superstition. The Ouroboros miscast as something dark or sinister. The power in these symbols is not what others believe about them, it is what you remember when you see them. This is the secret. They activate what is already within you. Even in modern times, we are unknowingly surrounded by echoes of these sacred forms. Corporate logos use sacred geometry to bypass logic and imprint brand loyalty deep into the subconscious. Governments and secret societies embed these shapes in architecture, flags, and emblems, not for aesthetics, but because they know, symbols shape perception. Perception shapes belief. And belief shapes reality. If you can understand the code, you begin to reclaim your ability to consciously shape your reality. Because symbols are not just passive reflections of truth, they are instruments of creation. And once you know how to wield them, you no longer walk blindly through life. You become a symbol bearer, a reality weaver. A conscious participant in the divine design. And we're only beginning to open the book. To truly grasp the hidden truth behind sacred symbols, we must now go deeper, beneath the surface interpretations, beyond the common associations, and into the realms where symbols operate as living archetypes. These are not static images. They are dynamic fields of consciousness. Symbols are multidimensional, and like prisms, they refract meaning depending on the level of awareness through which they are perceived. Take, for example, the pentagram, a five-pointed star, ancient and misunderstood. In its upright form, it has long been a symbol of divine harmony. Each point represents the five classical elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. The topmost point, representing spirit, rises above the material, symbolizing the soul's dominion over matter. To the Pythagoreans, the pentagram was sacred, a mark of initiation into divine mathematics, a reminder of the golden ratio, the fingerprint of the divine in all things. Yet today, it is often misrepresented as a symbol of darkness, feared and shunned due to centuries of misinformation and fear-based programming. But ask yourself, who benefits from the suppression of spiritual symbols? When we look at the swastika, we see a symbol that has been tragically distorted. Long before its appropriation in the 20th century, it was a revered emblem of cosmic balance, found in Hinduism, Buddhism, Native American art, and countless ancient cultures. Its arms represented the spiral motion of the universe, the cycles of time, sun movement, and the four directions. It was a symbol of well-being, prosperity, and divine energy. But when symbols are stolen and corrupted, their original energy becomes buried beneath collective trauma. Part of reclaiming sacred knowledge is learning to separate truth from manipulation, to rescue the symbol from the shadow cast upon it. This is the great paradox of symbols: they conceal as much as they reveal. They are cloaked in layers, designed to protect wisdom from the uninitiated and to reward the sincere seeker. In esoteric teachings, it is said that a true symbol can never be fully decoded with the intellect alone. One must live with it, meditate upon it, allow it to speak across the threshold of the rational mind. The knowledge doesn't come from the outside, it is evoked from within. And yet, symbols are not just for personal awakening. They also serve as connective tissue between realms. Consider the sigils used in ceremonial magic, personalized symbols created through the fusion of intention and design. These were not random marks, but channels for divine will. The practitioner would charge a sigil with energy and subconscious focus, embedding it into the field of potentiality, where it would begin to reshape reality. In this way, symbols were not passive, they were technologies of manifestation. The magician didn't beg for change. They commanded it through symbol and ritual. Even more complex are the yantras of tantric spirituality, geometric diagrams that function as engines of spiritual activation. The Sri Yantra, for instance, with its interlocking triangles and concentric circles, is said to map the path from individual consciousness to the cosmic source. Each point, line, and intersection corresponds to a stage of inner unfolding. Meditating on the yantra is not simply visual, it is energetic. The symbol reorganizes the subtle body, aligns chakras, and reprograms consciousness itself. We must also address the language of paradox inherent in symbols. The Vesica piscis, for example, the almond-shaped form created when two circles overlap, carries deep mystical meaning. It is the womb of creation, the intersection of spirit and matter, the place where duality dissolves into unity. In Christian iconography, it surrounds Christ and the Virgin Mary, not by accident but by ancient design. This shape whispers of the threshold between worlds, the liminal space where heaven kisses earth. Yet as profound as these meanings are, they are often lost to those who seek only surface value. In the age of instant answers, the symbol demands patience. It teaches by unfolding, by being contemplated like a flame or a dream. Its message changes as you change. What it reveals to the novice is different from what it shows to the initiate. This is the sacred contract of symbols. They reveal themselves according to the depth of your seeking. The more you give them your attention, your reverence, the more they unveil. They are cosmic mirrors, reflecting not just knowledge, but you. Your fears. Your gifts. Your forgotten power. And in a world that is rapidly digitizing, flattening reality into screens and pixels, the ancient symbols remain as anchors to the eternal. They are reminders that beneath the noise, there is a pattern. Beneath chaos, order. Beneath illusion, truth. We are not meant to merely observe them. We are meant to embody them. Because the greatest symbol is you. Knowing the hidden truths behind sacred symbols is powerful, but knowledge alone is only the beginning. True transformation occurs when symbols become tools, not just topics. When they are no longer confined to books or jewelry, but woven into the fabric of daily life. The ancients did not merely study symbols, they lived them. And if you are willing, you too can begin to reactivate these living codes within your own consciousness. Let us start simply, with conscious observation. The next time you encounter a sacred symbol, a pentagram, an ankh, the flower of life, don't just see it. Feel it. Pause. Breathe. Let it draw your attention inward. Ask yourself, what part of me is being stirred? What truth is this symbol trying to unlock? Close your eyes and visualize the symbol glowing within your third eye. This simple practice begins to re-establish the inner dialogue that sacred symbols were designed to awaken. Now, take it further. Create an altar or a symbolic space in your home, a place where certain symbols are intentionally placed not as decoration, but as energetic anchors. If you are seeking inner balance, use the yin-yang or the vesica piscis. For protection, place the Eye of Horus or a properly oriented pentagram. For transformation and rebirth, consider the Ouroboros or the phoenix. These symbols begin to radiate their frequency into your environment. Over time, this space becomes a portal, a still point in your home where the energy shifts, where presence deepens. You can also begin working with symbolic meditation. Choose one symbol that resonates with you. Sit quietly and gaze at it, not with analysis, but with openness. Let your mind relax and your breath slow. Then, slowly close your eyes and visualize the symbol in radiant light. Let it float before your mind's eye, as if it is alive, breathing with you. Ask no questions. Make no demands. Simply be in communion with it. Do this for 10 minutes daily, and you will begin to notice subtle shifts, intuitive insights, heightened awareness, emotional clarity. This is the symbol awakening in your consciousness. Another powerful practice is sigil creation, an ancient method of turning your intentions into living symbols. Start with a clear, affirmative statement of what you wish to manifest. For example, I am aligned with my highest purpose. Remove repeated letters, then use the remaining ones to craft an abstract design. It doesn't need to be artistic, only meaningful. Infuse it with emotion, focus, breath. Once completed, meditate on the sigil until it becomes etched in your inner vision. Then release it, burn it, bury it, or hide it. Let it live in the unseen, where the subconscious can begin weaving it into reality. To truly embody sacred symbols, one must also align thought, word, and deed. If you meditate on the Ankh as a symbol of life, but live disconnected from your body and joy, the symbol cannot activate. Living the symbol means allowing it to shape your behavior, your inner world, your interactions. If the Eye of Horus calls you to awaken perception, then begin questioning your assumptions, expanding your awareness, seeing the divine in the mundane. Each symbol holds a lesson, a virtue, a transformation, and when practiced with reverence, it reshapes not only the psyche but the energetic field around you. There will be resistance. The modern mind is trained to dismiss what it cannot quantify. You may feel silly at first, drawing sigils, meditating on ancient glyphs. But stay with it. The spiritual path is not about belief, it is about experience. And symbols bypass belief. They reach deeper. They awaken memory, soul memory, that knows without needing proof. Remember, sacred symbols are not superstition. They are language. Not a language of the tongue, but of the cosmos. And when you learn to read and speak that language, life begins to change. Patterns reveal themselves. Intuition sharpens. Meaning emerges where before there was only noise. This is not magic, it is ancient science. It is the art of aligning your inner world with the timeless truths encoded into the very structure of reality. The more you walk with the symbols, the more they walk with you. And the veil between the visible and the invisible begins to lift. So now we return to the beginning, with eyes that see more, with hearts that feel deeper, and with minds that no longer settle for surface interpretations. What once seemed like mere decoration, forgotten art, or mystical obscurity now stands revealed as a profound spiritual technology. Sacred symbols are not relics of the past, they are keys for the present, waiting for the right soul to turn them. We live in an age of overwhelming noise and distraction, where meaning is often hollowed out and replaced with convenience. But symbols, true symbols, resist this erosion. They endure. They speak across centuries, across cultures, across dimensions. They are the universal language of the soul, encoded into the fabric of temples, dreams, architecture, even DNA. And they are always waiting for someone like you to remember what they are, what they mean, and how to live by their guidance. Perhaps now you will begin to notice them more often, not by accident, but by alignment. You may begin to see the flower of life not just in ancient stone, but in the pattern of a leaf, the iris of an eye, the architecture of your very breath. You may catch the spiral of the golden ratio in seashells, pine cones, galaxies, and in the silent unfolding of your own life's path. And in those moments, something sacred will stir within you, the remembrance that you are not separate from the divine order, but a vital expression of it. This is the hidden truth about sacred symbols. They are not just to be studied. They are to be embodied. Each one carries a vibration, a call, a mirror. When you gaze upon a sacred symbol with reverence and intention, it gazes back into you. And in that silent exchange, you are changed. So I leave you with this question, one not to answer with the mind, but with your life. What symbol is already calling you home? If this journey stirred something within, share your reflections in the comments, or explore further into the ancient mysteries with us. Subscribe to the channel, for more doors are waiting to be opened, and more secrets are ready to be remembered. Until next time, walk the path with eyes wide open. And may the symbols speak.